Hello, guys. Hello, my dear friends. Um, so happy to be with you here. Greetings, Pat. You are the first one I have noticed when appearing online. Please let me know that you can hear me and that you can see me well. Привіт, друзі, says Spencer. And here again, I have to thank the amazing moderators, Spencer and Martin and Philip and Rudy and Michael. And even if some of them are busy doing other important tasks, we are all I wanted to say, the sheriff, we are all kittens because because of your hint, but we are all always a team. And of course, greetings, dear kittens, that I'm sure watch us from every corner of this fluffy world. Really happy to be with you today. I missed you. There are a lot of important updates that we can talk about. I'm always happy when our conversations are dedicated to some failures and losses of Russia. And to tell you the truth, with each day and with each month, I feel more and more confident in Ukraine. Tell me, please. Greetings to the Philippines. Let's just greet each other. I always love doing that. Greetings to Alaska. I hope you detoxified the state after Putin's visit. And Pittsburgh, and Pivnichna Carolina, Northern Carolina. Again, Alaska, we have a strong community there. Thank you so much. Would love to visit your country, of course, the United States, and Alaska too, because even though I love summer, I am amazed at the beauty of some cold places. Would like to experience that. Greetings to Denmark and Sweden and Virginia Appalachian Mountains and Canada and the Netherlands and Germany, of course, and unseen France. And whiskey sounds like a good word to pronounce. And greetings to Turkey and Spain and Zurich, Switzerland, and Southern California and Finland. At this particular moment, your Finnish president is my second favorite president on the planet. Thank you so much. Really happy to be with you. And today we will talk a little bit about geopolitics, because I feel a lot of people need some additional education. But I want to begin with this extremely important announcement that I will keep repeating during our live today. And that is, I'm honored and I'm super excited that we joined the sixth NAFO campaign. Many of you asked me, I'm always grateful when you want to support these campaigns, and we launched the sixth one. And it's the best way to achieve lasting peace, to defeat and demilitarize Russia. And I love the team of NAFO. They are here. I share the link, and I will keep asking my super team to drop links. And I agree with Pat that I just love the patches. Thank you so much, Serkan. Teşekkür ederim. And we worked seriously on the patches. We discussed, and I think they have an amazing designer who knows how to make it fun, to make it bright, and to tell a story. So on that patches, we have flamingo, we have spiderweb, and we have someone like me. Anyway, if you feel like supporting the campaign, do, because it's super transparent. We meet the units, you see the videos, and they help with trucks and they help with drones. That's exactly what people need on the front lines to defeat and demilitarize Russia. Thank you once again, Serkan, for making our community so strong, for militarizing us. And please don't forget to like, Serkan says, and don't forget to agree, because you are our great supporter. Thank you so much, Homer. And today I want to talk a little bit more on the topic, because it's my problem. Sometimes I get distracted, and I love answering your questions too. So how do you think, if we plan and we make it like you give me 60% of time to speak with you, and I will also ask you questions and will answer your questions about this loss of Russia's geopolitical influence. And no, we're not going to return back to Syria or Iran. We will focus on new losses because that's important. And I am like, from one point of view, I have a lot of topics to talk about, but from the other point of view, I'm so disappointed that even professional journalists who support Ukraine, who support democracy in your countries, do not speak enough about this not Moscow-centric point of view on the world and focus, and that actually there is one loss after another loss, and we need to remain attentive to keep fixing them, to understand how to act, and so on. Thank you so much, Erin, for buying me coffee. And do you see me well? Because I have some updates from an amazing team that not everything is perfect, but once again, I'm sorry if it's the quality. If it's really bad, I may switch to my like mobile internet, but I'm always worried because YouTube is too sensitive. You change something and it screws everything. Let me know, like, all clear. Okay, many people say everything is fine, so hopefully it will remain like that. It has improved. Thank you so much, Rudy, and thank you so much for all the support, all the comments, all the good advice that I receive. And I want to ask you a question because I like this question. Thank you so much, World Peace. Thank you for your support. And I want to start with a question. I think it's pretty obvious that Putin wants to recreate the USSR. People in Alaska, and we have them watching us, can confirm that that a lot of you witnessed Lavrov coming in a sweater with the USSR. They keep talking about that. So it's a common knowledge. Only people who want to hide from the truth keep doing that. Thank you so much, John. And I want to start with a question. To tell you the truth, I don't think that it was a double. I think it was a real Putin. And because he wouldn't miss such an event. And you know what I was surprised to hear? That many good people kept saying that, oh, he was too informal, he was acting weird, and he was just like so excited. The problem is that not knowing Russian language, not watching Russian news, unfortunately, from time to time we had to do it, or when Ukraine was severely Russified, like, and Putin is the president of Russia for 25 years, I watched enough of him, and that's why I sometimes feel like your translator, your interpreter from this part of the world. So I agree. And by the way, thank you so much, Seldwin. And I agree here with Vlad Wexler, who had a separate video on that too, that you don't know Putin. You see him from some brief videos. You see him through the lens of the international media that does not report a lot about him. And you can see him just like walking or looking angry or acting weirdly and being super reserved. But he is a mafioso, and he comes from that dark 90s when bandits, real mafioso decided things. And he is not an intelligent academic person as it may seem, once again, from your TV. Thank you so much to Balkane for making us stronger. Thank you so much. So, and he has a lot of really bad jokes. That's what we know about him. He spoke about that. He spoke about Ukraine that way, but it's not just about Ukraine. At the beginning of his career, in the middle of his career, or I hope at the end of his career now, he says a lot of very dirty jokes, very sexist jokes, very like primitive jokes, very homophobic jokes, very inappropriate, wrong things. Something that you would want you to wash your ears after listening to. And they are not just like intellectually sarcastic, but a little bit dark. No, they're just bad. So he comes from an environment where people steal, where people bribe, where people kill. So it is very wrong to think that he's just like an evil genius, very aristocratic in his behavior, very intellectual. No. And all these ideological last 10 jokes, right? I will learn the phrase because I don't know that. And yeah, he matches Trump. He matches Trump. I'm sorry, but that's what unites them. What you like, to tell you the truth, I don't think that Trump is like 100% Russian asset. Maybe they have something on him, maybe not. But I think that their lifestyle, their dreams unite them. Trump wants to be Putin of the United States. Trump knows that Putin has a lot of knowledge about elections, bribing elections, about faking things, about staying in power for such a long period of time. So honestly, I think when they met in Alaska, they were talking about that, not about Ukraine, not about the European Union, but just like Trump was trying to get some information about, like, I don't know, money laundering, faking elections or something like that. We overestimate the importance of like politics and even war. I don't think that Putin wants Alaska. He won't get it. Thank you so much, Cindiana, and happy to see you back. So they exchange this like dictator stuff, like we have a community. Our community is big, kind, and with respect, and this unites us. And they have that dirty, awful, bloody dictator small party, and that's the reason, what we were laughing about here in Ukraine when Trump disappeared for a week, and there were rumors, where is he, what is happening to him? Greetings to Finland. What is happening to him? And here in Ukraine, people said that he was perhaps ill, and he was super angry, and he was like, he had a nervous breakdown because he was not invited to a dictator party in China. There were Putin, Kim Jong-un, Xi Jinping, but no Trump, and he simply felt bad that he was not invited. Okay, I want still to return to our topic today, and that is the geopolitical losses that we observe. You know that recently I was honored to visit Silicon Curtain channel, or Friend channel, and he gave a beautiful title to our conversation, that Russia is a colony of China. But I thought that we can focus a little bit more on that, and I would like to start this conversation with a question. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. Really happy you liked it. So we have Putin, we have Lavrov, we have Medvedev, who openly speak that they want to recreate the Soviet Union. This is the project. They want all former Soviet republics to return. They also hope to expose some weakness in the European Union, in NATO, and potentially add more territories. Once again, it may seem irrational, crazy, but Putin's blitzkrieg, also violent, irrational, will lead to the collapse of the Russian Federation, but he still did it. So please do not evaluate, do not measure these dictators because by your measures. Look at them as they are. And they do not make decisions just as you normal kind people. So question number one, if they want to recreate the USSR, how many republics there were in the USSR? Who knows? Who studied well at school? Your Russian geography, Soviet geography teacher is back. So a question, how many Okay. Okay, you are close. To tell you the truth, I had to Google before our conversation because I could name some major, but luckily, like the USSR quickly collapsed after I was born, and I did not learn that much. But all of you are rotating around the correct number. So, in general, Wikipedia, most sources will tell you that there were 15. Of course, Soviet Union changed during the period, added some republics, changed the status of other republics. Some were autonomous, some were like separate republics. So it's really difficult to count, but we may say that at least 15, like 15 different countries. Thank you so much, Harriet. Thank you. So 15 is a lot. I agree with OMS. And maybe I can even, like read at least the names of these republics. So you will tell me which one surprised you maybe a little bit or not. So it was Azerbaijan, it was Armenia, Belarus, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Latvia, Lithuania, Moldova, Russia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Ukraine, and Estonia. 15. Uh, Tell me, please, if we want to be like realistic and we are not undermining but also not exaggerating the power of Russia. And yesterday I just loved this comment from the Secretary General of Rutte. I don't know if you've heard that. I shared it on X if you follow me. No super chats for Ukraine. I'm in Ukraine. I don't want to change it. Yugoslavia was not a part of the USSR. Yugoslavia was a separate Soviet republic, communist republic, but it was not a part of the USSR. Same as Poland. It was Eastern Bloc. It was very controlled by the Kremlin. It was communist, but Poland was not a part of the USSR. Mind that. And for example, in Poland, and I hope some people are watching us from this beautiful neighbor country, they had some like private property left, a little bit, small businesses were allowed, and they also did not Russify Poland. That's what people in Warsaw Pact, right? You are. So Warsaw Pact was bigger, or sometimes known as Eastern Bloc. For example, part of Germany. It was a communist country. It was on the orbit of the Kremlin, but it was not a part of the USSR. But I have just read these 15 Soviet republics. Let me remind you again: Azerbaijan, Armenia, Belarus, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Latvia, Lithuania, Moldova, Russia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Ukraine, and Estonia. And tell me, please. Okay, Putin wants to recreate this Soviet Union, maybe add more republics. Of course, he will fail, and he actually, with this very irrational desire, started destroying the Russian Federation. Maybe it was just, I'm sorry, according to it doesn't matter. It's the order here is not representative. I guess it was according to the Russian alphabet, and they have this in a different side. But I have a question to you. How many of these former republics that I have just announced want or feel like, you see, naturally feel like they are on the orbit of the Kremlin? That they feel that their future is connected with the Kremlin? Thank you so much, Dan. So Belarus, none. Greetings to Spain. And more versions: 1, Belarus. 0. Like if we talk about people in Belarus, perhaps they don't want to, but it's really difficult to say for the government. But anyway, we may say that the smooth process of occupation, annexation, silent, without bloodshed, without any big problems, happened only with Belarus, with Lukashenko, who is a dictator of Belarus. He rules the country for 30 years. And I wonder, they don't have war, they don't have wartime circumstances, they don't have martial law, they don't have missiles, they don't have front lines, they don't have people relocated from the country. I wonder, why do they have one and the same president for 30 years? And what surprises me is that the leader of the strongest democratic country speaks, I'm talking about the White House, I'm talking about Donald Trump, speaks about Lukashenko as a strong leader. I'm sorry. First of all, Lukashenko is a dictator who rules Belarus for 30 years, which is never okay. But second, he is not a strong leader. He gave up his country to Putin. That's the only reason he survived for these 30 years. They're super dependent. I personally think that Lukashenko is evil, but he is not that crazy as Putin. And now he feels pretty trapped because he does not want to go all in this war. He realizes this will ruin Belarus. This will ruin the economy, their army. Their army is small, by the way. He sometimes me about how afraid I am, but Belarus is at war in this semi-format. They give their territories, they give their equipment. What they don't give is their people, troops on the ground. But they have like 40,000. 40,000 is almost the same that North Korea supplied, and they are already gone. You know that. So only Belarus. Thank you so much to Balkan. You are amazing. Thank you, and cheers to that. So thank you so much, Joe. And I have to say thank you so much, Ed. I'm really surprised at like lots of Facebook messages that I receive right now. And I use Facebook for my Ukrainian audience. I want you to understand that it was long before I started YouTube, and people keep asking me something while I'm here. It's even impolite. So Russia, well, if Russia counts itself, we may say that this successful project succeeded only with Russia and Belarus uniting into what they wanted to describe as a union state or something like that. And Belarus army is small. It's not, to tell you, I don't know, I don't like to measure countries by size, but it's true. It's true when we talk about the Baltics, for example, that they lack strategic depth. What does it mean? They are small. They are equal to some Ukrainian regions. Others, when we talk about 40,000 people in the Belarus army, and you have like 800,000 Russian soldiers, well, can you see the difference? So do you understand it's not decisive? And many people still lack this, like they don't watch updates from Ukraine. They don't show it on the international news, and people just think like another country joining, another big Belarus and big Belarus army. No, it's not big. We don't want them to join. That would create lots of problems. Every missile is evil, every drone is evil, but this does not change the course of the war. Same as North Korean soldiers. This is just a precedent that actually described the weakness also of our allies, because when North Korean soldiers appeared on the ground in Europe, it would be very logical for the European troops or for the American troops also to appear on our soil. That was just a test, which we, to some extent, failed. And so we may say that Belarus is not like they don't want to join the war, not because they are kind, like people in general, they are not intoxicated with Russian imperial ideas, and they are more passive. I'd say they resemble this end of Soviet Union people, but they are not aggressive. They don't want to join the war. They realize it did not go right, and Lukashenko understands it did not go right. He sees that. He knows that's not a story of success. Once again, he's evil, he's a dictator, but he's first not a strong leader. Stop calling him like that, because he is not a strong leader at all. He's totally dependent on the survival of Putin's regime. The moment Putin's regime disappears, Lukashenko disappears, Kadyrov disappears. And that is why even this presence of Belarus on the orbit of the Kremlin, it's not natural. It's because of Lukashenko's control inside the country that will change. And I have more optimism for the people in this country because they did try to change a lot. So out of 15 republics, only one was annexed by the Kremlin. Georgia did not want that. Georgia fought back. They have some pro-Russian people in the parliament right now. They protest greatly. By the way, do we have some people watching us from Georgia? That would be really cool. And I want to express my support to the brave people of Georgia who right now stand against this evil. Greetings to South Africa. We have a lot of viewers and supporters there, and I'm very grateful for your interest and understanding of how everything interconnected is, even if we are far away from each other. And you know that Russia is an evil country. The Soviet Union was an evil country on your own historical experience. So anyway, with all the efforts, with all the fake image, with all the money that they spend on bribing politicians or creating pro-Russian political projects in former republics, they keep failing. Nobody wants to return back on the orbits of the Kremlin because what can the Kremlin offer them? Kremlin can offer money to a very narrow group of people, like some oligarchs that control, I don't know, electricity production, oil production, gas pipelines. It's always connected with resources. Big respect to Georgians. Totally agree with you. So we realize that, okay, he may bribe some people, he may try to hijack governments in some countries, but in total majority, nobody in that former Soviet republics, be it in Middle Asia, in Europe, or elsewhere, nobody wants to join Russia. Nobody wants to recreate the USSR. Have you heard people in Ukraine? Have you heard people in Lithuania? Have you heard people in Moldova talking about, oh my God, how great that would be if the USSR would be reborn? Never. It's just Putin constantly whining about this greatest geopolitical catastrophe, which was just a natural dissolution of the Russian Federation. By the way, here I want to remind you that we have a new community too, where videos appear on a weekly basis. My new channel, Anna Danilchuk, and I sincerely invite you in Ukrainian. That would be щиро запрошую вас to that channel, because thank you so much to Balkane again. So this evening there will be one more video on that channel where, in a bit longer discussion format, I want to introduce you to top Russian failures, not just the blitzkrieg, but those happening inside Russia. And I will ask you to share that video, and I will ask you to spread the truth, because it's a collection of really useful arguments as seen from inside Ukraine, and I believe it may help you. Guys, we don't even have 500 likes. Please, please, please. Thank you so much, Oms. I'm really happy that you like the channel and listen to Oms. He advises good. So do subscribe, please. And thank you once again. Thank you so much to Balkane. So let's make at least 500 likes. That would be really cool. And let's return back to these geopolitical losses of the Russian Federation. During the time that our community already exists, we talked about the loss of influence in Syria. It was super important. It was a pillar for the Russian army in the Mediterranean. It seriously strengthened that position in the Middle East, but let's forget about that. Iran now experiences serious problems, but Russia cannot help them. Why? Because Russia experiences serious problems. War zone, lots of Russian regions, active war zone, gasoline crisis, oil refineries, budget deficit, soon I will record a longer video about a budget deficit, because they actually exceeded the budget deficit for a year already, and we still have like 4 months to go. So that will be devastating. But let's speak about these new losses that we observe from the orbit of Russia. And that is, first of all, Azerbaijan and Armenia. Many people here in Ukraine, and you know that I love introducing you to the Ukrainian perspective, something that you may lack from watching us from outside. And oh, I love it. Brigitte, new Ukrainian Flamingo airline. Yeah, very like fast airlines, delivering uh, delivering fire to Russia. So anyway, let's talk about the recent losses. And first of all, this is Azerbaijan and Armenia. And here in Ukraine, we talk a lot about this confrontation that becomes more and more visible between Azerbaijan and Armenia. And it all began with Russia shooting down and seriously damaging Azerbaijani Airlines aircraft. I don't remember the exact date when it happened, but it happened recently, I guess in autumn, like previous autumn. And it was very dangerous because people were hurt. Some managed to survive, and they preserved the recordings and everything. They were flying above Chechnya, and Chechnya is a no-fly zone because Russia is a no-fly zone, because Russia brought war back home. Putin described it as a way to defend them from something he created in his mind as an excuse, but he failed, and he invited war together with the population that supported him. And thank you so much, Serkan. Thank you. Teşekkür ederim. Дякую. So together with all that, we see that after all of these failures, they still keep pretending that they control everything, and they allow aircraft flying in the skies, which is not okay. Because if you are at war, do as Ukraine, don't fly. Many often speak that it is possible, to open an airport in Lviv or to open an airport in Uzhhorod. This is in the west of Ukraine, where the territory is to some extent semi-safe and maybe for logistics, for military purposes. Personally, I am very much against. I'm very much against that, because a minor drone can cause a major tragedy. And what made Azerbaijani president and Azerbaijani people very angry, and that is very logical, that is fair to be angry, that Putin pretended nothing happened. He said at first that it was a Ukrainian drone, when they have recordings, they have this like black boxes that fix everything, and they knew what happened. Plus, Ukraine is the country. If we are wrong in anything, if any accident happens, we always take the responsibility. That's normal. Everything can happen in life during war. But no, it was totally Russians' fault. And the president of Azerbaijan demanded investigation, demanded Putin to ask for an excuse, which would be very natural, to say that he's sorry, to express his sympathy to the people who suffered in this accident caused by Russian air defense, and also to pay them money that are a part of this legal procedure. That is a normal behavior in any case, in any country with any airlines. And what Azerbaijani president expected from Putin, especially when Putin describes him as a friend and perhaps also sees Azerbaijan back in the USSR 2.0 project, Putin pretended nothing happened, reacted very negatively, and that led to more and more problems amassing inside their communication. Then again, you know that Russia is very chauvinistic country, and many do not speak about that. They are super racist. They are very negative towards non-Russian people who are Russians, because I personally believe that you can choose your citizenship and you can belong to that, like it's something like a political nationality. You don't have to be like 100% Ukrainian to be Ukrainian. um, and they speak about this big Russia. They speak about 140 million people. But attention, please. These are not all classical Russians as you imagine them. These are not Muscovites. There are a lot of people who are Tatars, Bashkirs, Chuvars, Buryats, Yakuts, and they don't look Russian. And they don't, they are very different. They can be Muslim, they can be Buddhist, they have a lot. Thank you so much, Marcel. Thank you for your continued support. They like actually Chechnya, Muslim country with very different approach. They actually may have a different number of wives, and a different system of courts and justice and everything. So uh, it's very wrong to see Russia very monolithic, very similar. And that's what many people far from the Soviet Union, far from Eastern Europe, still believe as like, oh, that's all the same, that's all the one. No, it's not. It's very different. It has a huge potential for the dissolution, but let's focus on different things. Chechnya, when I recently watched video of the street interviews, and girls were asked on the streets, Chechen girls, whom would you like to marry, like the guy from what country and so on, and they were always saying our guy. And the interviewer kept saying Russian, and they all said no, Caucasian, is it correct? Like Caucasus, Caucasus. Wow, I always mess up with this pronunciation. I mean like Caucasus Mountains, because Chechnya is close to that. Thank you so much to Balkan, and cheers. May something good happen to you today. So these Chechen girls, they do not identify as Russian. They do not want to marry Russian guys. They don't want to organize their families as Russian. So anyway, Azerbaijani people who have a very different alphabet, different religion, very different language, they do not understand Russians naturally. You, I'm sure, know they are not Slavic, different language, so we may not say that super synchronized. Thank you, Om. So, Azerbaijani people go to work to Moscow, and it was, let's change 666 in our likes. I need more likes. Let's change it. So they were thinking, like, it's unfortunately or fortunately a natural process that people may travel to bigger places to earn money. That is why you see people from different countries in your capitals, in your big cities, and so on. So a lot of people formerly from Azerbaijan, from Tajikistan, from Turkmenistan were traveling to Moscow and St. Petersburg, not to small Russian cities, but to the capitals, because they had a lot of money and they were building a lot of offices, and they were building roads, and they were building the other things. Thank you so much, Kata, and thank you so much, Tehsin. And Russia encouraged that, because thank you so much, Gail, too. Thank you for buying me coffees. Thank you to all the patrons. I always love chatting with you, and I'm sorry if I don't mention you enough here too. So this is just like a stable relationship. So to tell you the truth, they invited a lot of people, once again, because Russians from Moscow did not want to work on the construction sites and so on. And they treated these people very bad. There are tons of videos how they name them slaves, how they say, you don't have a right to speak to a Russian, don't look into my eyes, and so on. And in general, from one point of view, they do have a lot of these people in Russian capitals coming from very distant areas and often not speaking Russian, not understanding Russian. But even Putin's idea of Ruski Mir, it does not align with Tatarstan. It does not align with Chechnya. It does not align with like a great part of Russia that is Russian Federation, I have to say, a great part of the Russian Federation that is Muslim. And they speak about Russian Orthodoxy. We are here not to look back into history or to judge, but we are here to understand that, come on, Russia is not all Moscow. There are lots of republics and lots of people that see it differently. So they started attacks on Azerbaijani people in Moscow, in Yekaterinburg, another big city close to Urals, in Siberia, in St. Petersburg, and these were very serious. Thank you so much, Pat. I love it that you love it, and thank you for all the help. You were like the best reviewer. Thank you so much, Aaron. So with all that, they started attacking people. They started, Moscow police started reviewing some cases that come from 20 years ago or 15 years ago to arrest some influential Azerbaijani people, Azerbaijani diaspora in Moscow, in Yekaterinburg, and that led to protests, that led to fights, and some people were killed in these protests. And once again, Putin pretends nothing happened, and Ilham Aliyev, who is the president of Azerbaijan, he had to react because that's not okay. Like, that's an open, I don't know, like in Ukraine, thank you so much to Balkane. Here I will look very illiterate. Can you call these cases as a case of racism, or it should be named in a different way? Because it's not about just like the skin color, but it's about the different culture, the different background, the different religion. But xenophobia perhaps would be the best. Yeah, thank you. So that is very Russian. That is the essence of Russia. That's why they dislike, like everyone demonstrate this disrespect. It goes together with the chauvinism, Russian chauvinism. And thank you so much, Spencer. And you know that with all this, Azerbaijan started looking for new partners, and Azerbaijan also sees this weakness of Russia. They do understand that their oil refineries are burning. They do understand that air defense is failing. They know the truth about the Russian economy. They can travel and see the queues for the gasoline. So they are not across the beautiful ocean as Donald Trump, who doesn't see anything that happens to Russia. They are close. Many of their relatives are now in danger working somewhere in Russia or in St. Petersburg. And they know the truth. So that's why they are not that subordinate, and they are not that obeying with the Kremlin anymore, because they see the Kremlin is in great trouble. And even if Putin pretends and hopes that something will save him or someone in the White House will save him, the reality is like very different, and they know it. And to tell you the truth, when the president of Azerbaijan, together with the prime minister of Armenia, were signing some preconditions for a peace deal in, thank you so much, Rudy, in the White House. Once again, people who are aware of the things, relations in Eastern Europe, in Central Asia, in former Soviet republics, they all understand it's not the results of Trump's genius diplomacy, because you cannot like decide such a big problem or a long war in a day or two. By the way, I hate it when Trump keeps repeating that he kind of finished 6-10 wars in 7 days. Even if he did, but you cannot be sure that you finished a war if only 7 days passed. Decades have to pass to tell that the war was really finished. I sometimes have this feeling that the Second World War is just the continuation of the First World War. And we have like almost 30 years between, like 12, 20 years between. And what are you talking about, like a day or so on? So any processes, any negotiations, any things that took place between Azerbaijan and Armenia, former Soviet republics that don't want to be a part of the new USSR project, they are not the result of Donald Trump telephone call. It's years of work and months of conversations. Maybe these problems will reappear. By the way, we don't have any guarantees. And also, it's the result of the weakness of the Kremlin when they realize, okay, Kremlin may collapse, they have serious problems. It's not the time to work with them, it's not the time to fear them, it's the time to build new realities in these regions. And that's what they are doing because Putin sensed that, because Putin understood that. Let's make 1,000 likes, please. That's my ambition today. And I want to thank Rudy and all the team for reminding about our fundraiser. Thank you so much to Balkane. Thank you. I want to remind about our fundraiser that this is 6 NAFO campaign and we already have 44 donations and we have 3 beautiful patches, one with flamingo, another one with spider web, and the third one with me. And by the way, I always ask NAFO team which one is a winner. So that's interesting to know which one you will like best. And remember that this transforms into drones, and drones transform into burning Russian oil refineries. So thank you so much. That you share my opinion, Per Olof, and thank you so much, Leland. And so to say that the war is over in 7 days or half a year is just to show your ignorance and lack of IQ. But let's return back. This Azerbaijan and Armenia, they are in the United States, and that is a signal to Putin that I'm sorry, but we prefer the Western world. Even if it's a little bit crazy, chaotic right now, but that's temporary in general. I'm sorry, but life in the US is better than life in Russia. So there is nothing we can learn from Russia. We better learn from the US or from the European Union or even from Ukraine. So, anyway, after that, Putin got super angry and he began attacking Azerbaijani business in Ukraine. By the way, as we talk, another air raid alert in Kyiv, not in Lutsk, but that is a demonstration of the negotiations process preparation. I'm sure you understand it is all fake and it's not real. So we have to be very realistic. And they do have lots of drones traveling to the west, which means that I may also spend some time later in the corridor, but that typically happens later. And another more reason to, support our campaign. And greetings to Pakistan. I'm always happy to discover that people very far away from Ukraine watch us and want to know the truth. Thank you for choosing to know the truth. That's not always easy. So, Putin got very angry at Azerbaijan leader and he started targeting Azerbaijan business in Ukraine. We have Sokar. I don't know, maybe some of you have this also, Sokar gas station, fuel stations. What book I was reading in the hall? That was quite unexpected. Thank you, Pat. I will answer this question. That was a book about Juan Perón, the president of Argentina. My teacher of Spanish translated it into Ukrainian. That's a very big book. And it's interesting for me because it's my father was born in Argentina. He's Ukrainian, but Ukrainian diaspora was big there. And later they returned back to Ukraine. And I love the history of Argentina of that period. And it has a lot of details. So that's why. So Serkan says that you have Sokar. Because as far as I understand, there are a lot in common between Azerbaijan and Turkey. And I don't want to be wrong, corrects me if I'm wrong. Evita, of course, just like I know she's not very good, but she was the heroine of my fairy tales. Instead of fairy tales, I had Evita. So that you can understand Azerbaijani language a little bit, just like we can understand Polish or Bulgarian or Slovak. Is it true that like Turkish people can understand Azerbaijani? It would be interesting. So they started targeting these SOCAR businesses in Ukraine. They also targeted an American company, an American business in Zakarpattia. Oh, thank you. That's interesting. Yeah. So that's just the same. It doesn't make your language the same, but you do understand each other. And it's so interesting that Trump does not notice what's happening to American business in Zakarpattia, at a very distant region where Russians had to work hard to reach it, to destroy it. But the president of Azerbaijan reacts. And there are actually rumors that they started supplying, thank you so much, Chris, that they started supplying us with bombers. MiGs, these are old Soviet bombers, but they can still help us. And that is an important thing because it demonstrates that Azerbaijan now supports Ukraine. They support territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine much better than the American president right now. So can you imagine a former Soviet republic that was very much under the influence of the Kremlin now understands geopolitics better than Donald Trump? Thumbs up for that, because this helps more people to watch the video, and that is super important. So I don't want the world to watch this all through Moscow lens. That's very wrong. So with this idea, Armenia and Azerbaijan are now out of the influence, but we also observe very interesting tendencies in Central Asia. You know that a lot of Central Asian republics were part of the USSR. We cannot say that they were naturally Russian as they want to depict them, or they want to depict these very deep connections when they are very different, when they have a different lifestyle, different religion, different social organization, different philosophy. Greetings to Winnipeg and everything. And I have spoken about Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and all of them are building their countries. Many of them are pretty authoritarian. I think it's a part of this like horde organization or some Asian traits. I don't know why, but you can see it in China, you can see it in North Korea. I don't say it's on the same level, but they do have presidents for decades. It's fashionable. I don't like it. I think it's always a very bad sign when you have a boss, like, I mean, not the owner, but someone occupies a specific power position for more than 2 terms. It's always a super red flag. Even if this person is cool, good, and kind, he or she, they should understand and change it. They should switch. They should find a different position because, like, here in Ukraine, we say like you get covered with moth or something like that. Like you have to change. You have to give someone else to do it, so on. So, but all these, thank you so much, Serkan. And now we learn a lot that Azerbaijani and Turkish people can understand each other's language. And once again, this does not make the language just identical, but when I understand the Slovak, Polish people, Bulgarian people, and Russians keep saying that these languages are just one. Thank you so much for all the gift memberships and for making our community stronger, including against the Russian trolls. So, thank you for reminding about the NAFO campaign. And to tell you the truth, I always keep refreshing it, looking for some positive changes. And we do have 46 donations already, which is cool. because we had 44 just a couple of minutes before I do that. That's what I do for a good night. So, as is these Central Asian republics, they also are also rich in natural resources, and they are super successful in some international projects. But of course, they look back in the direction of China now. And this recent dictator party in China, they clearly demonstrated that they listen to Xi Jinping. They, if they are choosing, uh, the thank you so much, Sana. They are choosing the new support, the new center. I don't like these zones of influence, but I do like how strong to Balkan makes us. And thank you so much. And but still, if they are looking for this like geopolitical influence, cultural influence, the tendencies to develop, they choose China. To tell you the truth, they do share more culturally, anthropologically, religiously, traditionally with China. They, like, perhaps for a very long period of time in history, they were closer to China, to these ancient civilizations that existed in that part of the world. But right now, they are also looking at the behavior. I know China is an enemy. I know China funds Russian war. I know China gives them not just money, but also parts for the weapons that they later assemble. I know that China permitted North Korean soldiers to come here and to use Ukraine as test grounds because that's a valuable experience that they can use. And I don't wish it, but they are looking at Taiwan, they are looking at the Philippines, they are looking everywhere a lot. And what differs between Russia and China is that Russia is very crazy, irrational, and with this failed blitzkrieg, they destroy themselves. China is not that risky. They don't want to risk. They measure the world in different, I don't know how to say, criteria, and they are not in a hurry. I've read a number of books that analyze China, their politics, their philosophy, and they want to dominate the world like in 400 years or in 4 centuries or 2 centuries. They are not in a hurry. And they want to do it economically, they want to do it politically. They don't want to bomb everything. I'm not saying it's much better, but that's the attitude. And those Central Asian countries, of course, choose this approach because let's talk about something painful but real. During this last 1,000 days, Russia managed to get 1% of Ukrainian territory. Most of the territories were occupied either in 2014 or during these first months of the Blitzkrieg, when we were totally unprepared for this absurd, for this violence in the 21st century. But since then, not much achievements. But even if we look at the territories that they occupied temporarily, these territories are not for living. They do not occupy strong, healthy cities. They apply scorched earth policy. They drop hundreds or thousands of cabs and fabs on that territories. They destroy everything. So when Russians occupy a village, when Russians occupy a settlement, there is no that settlement. There is no schools, streets. There is no streets. Let's talk about that. Not just schools or buildings or shops or something like that. There is nothing. So what Russia gets? Ashes, tragedies, ashes, destructions. And any sane invader, even evil, but any adequate evil leader doesn't want such things. Because what will you do with these destroyed cities? What will you do with these destroyed territories? It's very expensive to restore them, but it doesn't give you anything at all. It doesn't give you any material success. It doesn't give you any moral success. And people see what's happening to the territories that are liberated by the Kremlin. They see that there is no water, there is no electricity, there are no hospitals, universities are not working, everything is super expensive. People are conscripted, sent to filtration camps, children separated from their families. But in most cases, these cities and these settlements are simply erased from the face of Earth. And now look at China, that always pays attention to this economic benefits. Why would they want something like that? Why would they want ashes? What's the achievement? I'm sorry. What's the success? Thank you so much, Joe. So it's just Putin's craziness. It's just inability to get what you want and then to destroy it, as classical abusers, as classical bullies, as classical psychopaths do. And China wants to do it in a silent way. And here I want to support Spencer, who explains that in the comments too, that a big part of the US influence, like USAID or some other project, stopped. And maybe that did cost the US something, but the benefits were far greater. Businesses, support, lobbying, it's always like that. It is always a mutually beneficial process. It was not that America was sacrificing itself. I greatly doubt. You don't seem like a country that is always sacrificing. Plus, it always, these mutually beneficial relations, they always return you something back. Some contracts, some votings, some people, some money, some inventions, some opportunities, some roads, some logistics. It always returns something. And that these empty spaces, they never remain empty. And I'm sure that that they were like praying for something similar to happen, and they actually did it. And they actually escaped from a very well developed network of partnerships, and China is doing that, and I'm sure they will keep doing that in countries like Hungary, in countries like Slovakia, that are looking for, some authoritarian support. They were trying to do it in Ukraine very hard, to come with investments, to come with grant programs. China, before the invasion, yes, it was everywhere. And they were pushing lots of Chinese students at the university. That's the soft way of invasion, silent annexation planned for centuries. And we see similar things like happening with Central Asian republics that were formerly on the orbit of the Kremlin. But now they choose Beijing, because Beijing won't kill them, won't bomb them. It will use soft power. It plans it for like death trap model. Very beautiful, Willie. Thank you so much. That is a death trap model, China, but it's better than what they did to Mariupol. And plus, many of these countries, they do think they can, outplay. Everything is pretty unpredictable. And hopefully, like Slovak people will return back on track, because I know many of you support us. And Tubalkane says that like the button, and you know that he is a great supporter of the channel, and we have to listen to him. uh, so we have to understand that these losses become more and more visible, and Russian way of dealing in the process of the USSR reconstruction, as they hoped, actually made a lot of people who are more optimistic about the USSR, about the Kremlin, made very pessimistic, because they saw it. They realized what happens on the temporarily occupied territories, Crimea, and we're going to talk more about Crimea in the video that will appear on the channel after our conversation. So remember to return back and to watch it more. But they understand that together with Ruski Mir, together with Russian occupation, together with the so-called Russian liberators, comes destruction, comes death, comes filtration camps. It's not a story of success. Have you heard about anything successful happening now in Donetsk, in Luhansk, even in Crimea? Nothing. People don't have enough water. People don't have fuel. People are sent to the meat grinders, separated from their children. And no stories of success. And the same about Russia. Actually, when you go deep inside Russia, you see the same. It's not a land that many want to move. It does not have any innovations. Okay, China uses people's thank you so much, Francois, and thank you so much, Serkan. You are amazing. So together with all that, we see that they are not competitive. China uses people's resources. China uses labor. We know about camps, Uyghur people, lots of bad things. But they do create something. They do create telephones, they do create computers, they produce clothes. Most of us are wearing clothes made there. What about Russia? What Russian products? I also want freedom for Bashkortostan and Tatarstan. By the way, do you know, Sarkan, that we have a very good ambassador from Ukraine to Turkey, who is a Crimean Tatar by origin, and he was a prisoner of war, and he was released recently, and the president gave him time to relax, improve his health, spend time with his family. But now he is an ambassador of Ukraine to Turkey, and here we think that it is one of really smart diplomatic and cultural decisions. And he knows what to say. He knows how to tell the truth about what Russia is. And at the same time, he comes from Crimean Tatar heritage. So I do like it when our diplomacy is like that, because none of Ukrainian ambassadors are that good. Some of them are not so good. Yeah, that is a really good ambassador. We follow him. So we understand that Russia is not competitive. There is nothing that Russia can offer apart from violence, continued wars, and threats. Right now, these threats work like perhaps the main tool of the Russian politics or diplomacy. There is nothing else that can interest you. I think in case with Donald Trump, it is money that Putin can advise him where to get or how to launder, or maybe some bribes, plus also perhaps the information on how to be a dictator. I don't know if you have heard, but we were laughing with moderators a bit about this wannabe dictator by like it was an AI generated video. And you know, when I was at school, Spice Girls was super popular here. And they had like, if you want to be my lover or something like that. I don't remember the song, but I do. If you want to be dictator, yeah. And remember to like this video. This helps a lot. Yeah, it's so bad that Russia invites Indian laborers, people from other countries that have a positive image of the Soviet Union, not understanding that Soviet Union was bad. It's just because you're far away from it, so you don't get the feeling. And also because Russia is not a Soviet Union, even Russia produced together with Soviet republics, including Ukraine, a lot of things. And now they don't, and they trick these people. And many of them get on factories that are drone factories instead of something they were traveling to. And unfortunately for these people, Russian drone factories are dangerous place. Thank you so much, Sifars golden ratio. I'm sorry if I'm not reading right, but thank you so much. And I know we have a strong community of Indian people on the channel who support, and I'm very grateful for that because it's not a mainstream to some extent. And also, I don't blame those who are in doubt because, once again, I know you're far away from us. Russia is very strong in its influence, and many see it as the hair of the Soviet Union that wasn't that bad. Once again, because it was very far away from you. So, and they trick because they lack people. They try to send more and more people on the front lines and all of that. So what we observe right now is that former Soviet republics, authoritarian, democratic, Christian, Muslim, Slavic speaking, Turkic speaking, do not want to be with the Kremlin because first they know what it is to be with the Kremlin. Second, they witness Kremlin's weakness and they understand now is the time to escape from their grasp. And also because that is a failing project, that is the return to the past. No normal person, no normal nation wants to return to the past. Russia does not see its future. Russia does not see it can do something. So it's time to leave them. And that is exactly what we observe and why it is so important to speak about that. I am angry at the global media, even the media of our friendly countries, the countries that support Ukraine, that still choose this Moscow-centric approach, that still measure everything by old Soviet standards, forgetting that, as Rutte beautifully said, Putin is the governor of Texas. And cheers to Balkane for that. Thank you so much. We may say that you have a tribe of people already in our community who received your support. Thank you so much. So yesterday, Rutte, Secretary General of NATO, beautifully described Putin, saying that we should stop exaggerating him. We should stop exaggerating his influence because he's just the governor of Texas. And here, many of you beautiful people, you don't understand that the GDP of Russia is the one of Texas. So tell me, please, why Trump describes contracts with Russia as a great success when all the Russian GDP is just a GDP of one your state. That's absurd. And people still choose a very wrong, lens to look at that. That's insane. I hope that Trump gets kickbacks if I understand you right. That is very, very wrong. Remember to like this video, and maybe before I let you enjoy your Saturday, and I also ask you to watch a video that will appear on that channel and on the new channel, more talking format. I am ready to answer a number of your questions really quickly. So do ask me what you want to know, supposedly about Ukraine, not about what did you what do I eat. Sashi is very okay. We don't film series separately because you don't watch the series that much, and views of vlogs receive better. So he's a bit angry that we don't have that format. But recently we had a good chat and everything is fine. Waiting for YouTube button that was already trying to be delivered, but then returned back to Dublin because the office of YouTube for Europe is in Dublin. The people were protesting a couple of weeks ago, I'd say, because of one of the laws that we did not like, that to some extent limited the independence of anti-corruption organs. And I love it that people reacted and the government reacted too. So we changed the law and now guaranteed the security and independence of these organs. And this is actually how democracy works. And I was surprised to see that so many friends of Ukraine, so many good friends of Ukraine are worried because they thought it's something wrong. It may be some interference. Maybe it's JD Vance. Maybe it's Putin. No, it's a very Ukrainian approach. We demonstrated that we are dissatisfied. The government reacted, and that's the results. I have a very good advice to remind you about Balakun. That is a very interesting initiative that I was honored to talk about. And here I share a link. So those of you who want to join, it's a nonprofit initiative that builds bridges between passionate volunteer mentors worldwide and Ukrainians eager to practice English. And Balakun can be translated as chatterbox from Ukrainian, and you can sign up as a mentor. You don't have to be an English teacher. You have to be a native speaker or speak really well, and they will match you with a Ukrainian. And they prioritize people who are military. They prioritize doctors. They prioritize Ukrainian children, and like 80% of all are there. In Ukraine, they focus on that, not even refugees, but people in Ukraine. And we see Erin and some, I know that people from the community are part of Balakun. So I will drop the link again. You can open it, you can use it, but just like they are verified, and I'm really happy to introduce you to them. Once again, it's really good. So yeah, we have 6 more likes to get 1,000, and that will be already really good. And yeah, we see people share their experience. So like, you may actually ask, my book is, thank you, I have finished it. I have even given it to some of our community friends for a test reading. And here I want to say thank you for reading and giving your feedback. And to tell you the truth, you were all too kind to me. And now emails sent to 10, I guess, to different literary agencies because I want to do it professionally, and they give 6-8 weeks, so I have to simply wait, and that's it. Yeah, we have 1,013 likes, and that is really, really great. Yeah, thank you so much for all the support. And Botox Putla, yeah, I know you've told me that I have to pronounce Botox, but some of you did like it, how I said Botox before. And listen to Rudy. Rudy won't advise you something bad, and he keeps advising to support NAFO campaign. So maybe some more questions. Some more questions, and I always love it when you ask something about Ukraine. Do you have time? Well, I'm working on a project, but I don't do a lot of teaching, as you might have noticed. But I do have a number of EU-associated projects that I work with the students too. Why India and Modi go to China? Well, we don't have Modi here, but as far as I understand, that is the result of a greatest mistake of Donald Trump, who pushed Modi, who was actually not very pro Xi Jinping, into the hands of Xi Jinping, unfortunately. When will the flamingos fly? I'm praying for that. I'm praying for that every night. And to make smaller flamingos, Ukrainian drones fly, do support our NAFO campaign. And I do like this button, Dilip. I'm really bad at smiles on my laptop. I'm good at using them on the phone, but I'm not so good. Thank you so much, Peter, and thank you so much, Lee, and thank you so much, Chris, and Kurt, all the patrons. Thank you for your support. No, I have never been in the USA. I have never been across the beautiful ocean. Well, I like Ukrainian hopak. I think it's one of the most beautiful national dances, but I can't tell you that I'm watching it like all the time because Ukrainians are more optimistic today than 6 months ago. Yes, I think so. Because we were all shocked with Trump and Musk and what they were saying. And now we are immune. We see that they are saying a lot of weird things, not just about Ukraine, and that many people are shocked. Plus, we realize that we have the support of our European friends, that we are building our ballistic missiles. And, by the way, there is a question that, when I tell you that I'm reading the comment when I'm waiting to come and see you. And I read one comment from like a friend, but saying that, of course, perhaps these are Western data that we managed to build flamingos so quickly. I cannot deny that it's impossible. And of course, a lot of businesses, military businesses, are coming to Ukraine. And I think that is a win-win approach that can help us a lot. But what you forget about, guys, is that Ukraine in the Soviet Union was the hub of science, the hub of, thank you so much, Dr. Andy, was the center of development of space programs, of missile programs, nuclear missiles programs, maintenance, all Ukraine. So you have to understand that it's not that we don't have any knowledge about how to build long-range missiles, ballistic missiles, or even nuclear weapons. It's just we were not doing that because we were a peaceful country. And I know that Budapest Memorandum is a mistake now. And at the same time, it was a good decision, a kind decision. It would be wise if many countries gave up their nuclear weapons, but unfortunately, no. And unfortunately, people do not keep the word, even if they are democratic countries. Adam, I am not fascinated with the European Union, and I know it has a lot of its problems. I'm not the person who looks at it with pink glasses, and I realize there are some problems that may come to Ukraine together with the European Union. But alone, we will not survive against Russia together with China, with Iran and North Korea. It's impossible to stand against that many countries, authoritarian countries, alone. With sometimes, blocked borders. Thank you so much, Bruce. So it's not about this fascination, or we believe that the European Union, to tell you the truth, now Ukrainians want to join NATO. This changed greatly after the beginning of the full-scale invasion. And now Ukrainians still want to join NATO, but we are more realistic about NATO. We realize that there are lots of problems inside NATO. There are lots of skills they lack. There is a lot of lack of understanding of the war of the 21st century. And I keep repeating that many countries prepare for the Second World War. You keep correcting me that for the third. No, I mean that they are preparing for the Second World War when it is already the Third World War, and it's very different. You don't need a lot of tanks because they can be easily destroyed with inexpensive drones. You remember our spiderweb operation, and you can get a patch and also support Ukrainian drones and Ukrainian units with trucks on the front lines, and also get a spiderweb patch, which is a beautiful. So European Union is not ideal. NATO is not ideal, but it's much better than Russia. It's much better than Soviet Union. And unfortunately, alone, you cannot survive in this world. So that's why we understand that. So maybe like 2 more questions and I will let you enjoy. Yeah, we want to join NATO. Just like it looks like Putin right now has a veto on Trump. So Trump says that he doesn't want Ukraine in NATO, but it may change everything, starting from Trump and finishing from Trump's opinion. James Bond, yeah, plus drones, winning combination. I totally agree with you. And my dear moderators, can you please drop a link to my new Anna Danilchuk channel, where we already have a really strong community. Ukrainian is expensive now. It's, of course, the prices are growing, but I wouldn't say that it's something that concerns people. For example, more drone attacks, because the number of drone attacks and missile attacks on Ukraine tripled since Trump is in the office. That's what bothers us more. Those who are with me for a long period of time might have noticed that my city was semi-safe and we would have attacks like every half a year, and now we have like every week, every 2 weeks. That's the tendency that bothers us more than eggs. We have cheaper eggs than in the US. I'm sorry, but I know it was one of the Trump's emotions. What are Ukrainian emotions about coalition? Well, there are no real decisions of the coalition. I have to be cheerful, but we have to be realistic. They discuss everything that must happen after a ceasefire or a peace deal when there are no signs of any deal or peace deal or ceasefire. So it's talking about nothing. Plus, they are constantly afraid. Like, we have North Korean soldiers on the Russian side. We don't have any European soldiers on the Ukrainian side. That's what Putin also sees, and we see that. So it's more about like remaining motivated, but understanding that we have to fight by ourselves too. And that's again why I'm happy that we develop our missiles, that we develop our drones, that we are able to use that. But what I feel, it's not about coalition, it's about people from the European Union, it's about you, it's about the emails that I receive, that more and more people in Europe understand that, oh God, this is not a local conflict, no matter how much we wanted it to be, but it's not just about Ukrainian territories. It's the threat to Europe, it's the threat to the world. So this changes, and this may in future lead to more determination and more desire to support Ukraine, because it's way better to defeat them here than to let them move to the Baltics or something like that. Thank you so much for all the beautiful messages that you've left, all the support, and we have more than 1,000 likes. This is really great. And I'm also grateful for all the comments that you leave. Please share the videos. Remember that there are scammers. I never invite you to chat. I do not chat with people. I literally don't have time for that. You have to understand, because thank you so much, Trev. I do not have time for that. My priority is to communicate with you directly, and that's why I'm very grateful when you watch videos, you share videos, you comment, you help Ukraine become more visible, because that's our important mission. I'm very grateful that we united around that. Remember to support NAFO campaign if you feel like. Thank you for all the coffees, sponsorship, and patrons. You allow me to work more, and I'm grateful for this opportunity. That's why we have another channel, and soon a video will appear there and one more here. NAFO campaign, no, I will keep refreshing the feed, knowing that you send this strength to our Ukrainian units that are on the front lines and fighting against the very big evil that must be defeated, and that's the only working peace plan. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carlos. Thank you so much, Rudy, Martin, Michael, Philippe, and Spencer. Thank you so much, all the good people that spent this day with us. Thank you so much, Serkan to Balkan. You made our arsenals really strong. So thank you once again. And united we stand. Slava Ukraini.